Before even going on sale in Australia, the Subaru Solterra has had its price reduced to the same price as what it costs in America. The price has been slashed by $8,000. And the reason is this. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking, the Subaru Solterra. It's basically a Toyota BZ4X, but there's no single motor option. The cheapest Toyota BZ4X, it has a single front wheel drive. The cheapest Solterra is all-wheel drive. That's basically the only difference between the base models of those two EVs. That means the BZ4X, when it arrives in Australia, should be cheaper than the Subaru Solterra. And that gives you a good idea on what the price of the BZ4X would be, probably around 66,000 Australian dollars. The Solterra, it, hasn't exactly been a smash hit success in the United States. It cost $45,000 for the base model. And last year, Solterra sales represented 1% of all Subaru vehicle sales in the United States. Now, considering that's the only EV that Subaru sell in the US, it means 1% of Subaru car sales in the US last year were fully electric. There's a reason why only 1%. The Solterra is not exactly lighting the house on fire in terms of sales. It's not received great reviews. But remember, this is the new updated version. Now, I'll get to the updates just in a minute. They're not huge, but they are definitely significant. Here's the thing. Is it worth getting a Subaru Solterra when you can get for the same price, in fact, not for the same price, for less money? In the United States and Australia, and in most countries, less money, cheaper, a Tesla Model Y. Now, yes, it's true the Tesla Model Y is not all-wheel drive in its cheapest variant. The long-range version, though, is about the same price as a Subaru Solterra. It has a lot more range. In fact, more than 100 kilometers more range. It has two motors, a lot more power, about double the power. Is the Solterra that compelling for this price, at this price point? Well, no, it's just not. But there is some upgrades, and maybe that would give you a good reason to want to buy the Solterra. Now let's have a quick look at the prices, these price changes. The Solterra base model has had its price discounted by $8,000. It costs $69,990, so $70,000 Australian dollars in Australia for the base model. In the US, it's $45,000. 70,000 Australian dollars equates to exactly $45,900 US dollars. So it's about $900 US dollars more expensive to buy the Solterra in Australia versus the United States for the same exact model. Now, if you go up a grade, the Solterra Premium, it has a few extra luxury features. It doesn't have any more power. It's the same battery pack. It's just got some few extra features. That model is $77,000. It's called the all-wheel drive Touring. That's Australian dollars, of course. In the United States, that model is $48,500. So now it's a couple of $1,000s more expensive to buy the all-wheel drive Touring in America versus in Australia. But that model, the all-wheel drive Touring, has had its price discounted by $8,000. Now, if the prices had stayed the same in Australia before it was revealed, it would have been a lot more expensive than the American models. But now they've been equaled. Prices are pretty much equal between both countries. Does that mean you should buy one though? Well, okay, specifications. Both models of Solterra get 160 kilowatt total, that's about 220 horsepower, and 337 newton meters. Claimed range is 414 kilometers on the WLTP cycle. The standard cheapest Model Y. Now, I know there's other EVs you can buy. There's the ID4 in the US. We don't have that in Australia. These are the Ioniq 5. They're a little bit more expensive, though. There's the Mustang Mach-E. That's more expensive as well. So I think probably in terms of pricing, the two most comparable models right now with the Solterra is the Model Y. So that's why I'm comparing them. Of course, there are BYD vehicles, but there's no direct comparison with the BYD because the Atto 3 is significantly smaller. All right. Model Y has more power. It's got about 200 kilowatt and it's got a bit more torque, even though it's got the one motor. Of course, you get the long range version for just over $70,000 and that one has a lot more power, a lot more torque, a lot more range. But let's just look at the standard range. The standard range Model Y in Australia is $66,000. In the United States, it's actually now around 42,000 US dollars. So it's cheaper, nearly 10% cheaper in the US and in Australia to buy a Tesla Model Y than a Subaru Solterra. Is there a reason you'd want the Solterra instead? Well, I can only think of one. That is the all-wheel drive feature. Now, of course, you can buy the Tesla Model Y long range, you're going to get all-wheel drive, but I'm talking about the cheapest model here. That's the only real advantage of the Solterra versus the base Model Y standard range. The Model Y standard range has about 10% more range, and it does have more standard features. The Solterra is missing a few of the features that come standard in the Model Y. Included in the manufacturer list price in Australia, and I believe in the US for the Solterra, is a 60-month, 75,000 kilometer service plan, 5 years of roadside assistance, carpet mats, wow, deal, a cargo tray, as well as a 2 kilowatt AC charging cable with 8 amp wall plug. So you do get a wall plug. It's relatively slow to 2 kilowatt charging speed, actually very slow, but it is something you get with the car. All right, all-wheel drive Solterra. What are you getting versus the old model? Okay, Inside EVs says the changes include, there is some changes to the battery pack. It's got actually more usable battery range. So it's the same size battery, but they've reduced the buffer. So normally with a battery pack, and in fact always with an EV, they have a battery buffer, and this kind of protects the battery. So they've actually reduced the buffer because these vehicles were getting less range than what they were supposed to, a lot less range. They reduced the buffer, and the range now was a little bit better. The other changes are faster DC charging. Now, technically, they don't say that it has a faster DC charging in terms of its specifications, but Subaru and Toyota say charging is actually faster. They say charging was a significant weak point. The 2023 version could recharge from 10 to 80% in 56 minutes. That was not very good. I mean, obviously the Model Y charging for the standard range is 170 kilowatt and 250 kilowatt for the long range. The 2024 version charges in 35 minutes from 10 to 80% instead of 56 minutes. It does charge at 100 kilowatt charging speed maximum, but it stays at that maximum level for a lot longer period of time, giving you significantly faster charging than before. I still think it doesn't charge fast enough. Honestly, I think that's just the speed is just not where it should be. However, Subaru says it has a new thermal management system that improves cold weather charging. Not really that relevant for most people in Australia, but in the United States, very relevant. Thanks to an upgraded battery conditioning system, the Solterra can charge at temperatures below freezing significantly faster than its predecessor, up to 80 minutes faster in certain conditions. Okay, so new features for the model that's coming to Australia and that comes for the 2024 version in the United States. They're both the same car. These include standard Subaru EyeSight driver assist technology, including driver-supported hands-free driving at speeds of up to 25 miles an hour. The ability to change lanes on command by activating a turn signal. A redesigned steering wheel with regen braking force paddle switches. So you can actually press the paddle flaps like you would change gears, and that turns regen on. So 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. So you press it 1 time, you get regen level 1. Second time, regen level 2. Third time, you see my point, right? A redesigned steering wheel with regen braking. Standard roof rails with a static load capacity rated up to 700 pounds. Ideal for a rooftop tent, and a dynamic load capacity of up to 176 pounds. Front cross traffic alert. Driver focus distraction mitigation system, and a few other software changes as well. Still too expensive, in my opinion. Price needs to be reduced minimum 10% to compete with Tesla. I don't see a lot of people buying it. I think hardcore Subaru fans will, but outside of that niche, very small niche market, it's not going to sell unless they discount it even further. Thanks for watching.